Welcome to Advanced Engineering Physics. This is Lasers Part 4 by Dr. S. Deepthi, Assistant Professor in Physics, Department of H&S, MLR Institute of Technology. So, today we are going to learn about ruby laser, CO2 laser and semiconductor laser. How the laser light is produced by different methods. So, these are the construction and working and applications of particular laser systems. So, we are going to learn about all these lasers, about their construction, working and their applications. Okay. So, let us see. Ruby laser. This is a solid state laser. It is known as 3-level laser system. So, we have already seen the 3-level laser system. What are the 3 levels? One is ground level, another one is excited state, another one is metastable state. 3-level laser system. And we are going to see another level laser system also. Okay, provided we have another level will be coming in between the even ground state and the first 2 states. Okay, so this is how laser light will be produced. Here, what we are going to see, this is a solid state laser. Active medium is ruby rod. Okay, it is doped with chromium atoms. Okay, Cr2O3. Okay, so chromium atoms. Active center is ions. Pumping method, optical pumping. Source is xenon flash lamp. Optical resistor, 2 ends of the rod will be polished with silver. Power output in watts. Nature of output, pulsed laser. Okay, and the color is pink color. Pink color will be coming out. See here, a beautiful pink color light will be coming out of this ruby rod. Okay, the flash tube flashes here. This is a fully reflected mirror. This is partially reflected mirror. Okay, now this is the diagrammatic representation of a ruby laser. What does it consist of? It consists of helical xenon flash lamp. Helical means curved flash lamp, curved tube will be there. This is helical flash lamp, and this is called as flash lamp. And a ruby rod is inserted inside this flash lamp, and this flash lamp is connected to the power supply, and where this ruby rod consists of fully reflected mirror and partially reflected mirror. Okay, so before going to learn about ruby laser clearly, let us see that how the effects, how the active medium will be there and all. So, how to produce a laser light? A laser light will be produced by the active medium. The medium is called as active medium, and here surrounding the active medium we do have 2 types of mirrors. One is fully reflected mirror, another one is partially reflected mirror. This is called as fully reflected mirror, and this is the partially reflected mirror. Okay, this total arrangement will be arranged, and this in this active medium only the excitement of atoms and de-excitement of atoms will be taking place. Okay, the active medium is the medium where active participation of transition of energy levels will be there. Transition of atoms from one energy level to another energy level will be there. Now, the produced output will be moving in between the partially reflected mirror and fully reflected mirror. So, until it achieves the required amount of amplification. Okay, how the light will be amplified? While moving from one end of the fully reflected mirror to the other end of the partially reflected mirror, the light will be rigorously moving from this end to this end. After de-excited, how the light is produced? This produced light is the due to the de-excitation of atoms from the higher energy level to the lower energy level. So, the de-excited photons and de-excited light energy will be moving from partially reflected mirror to the fully reflected mirror rigorously to achieve the amplification. the amplification is achieved in that sense, and while the required amount of amplification is received, then the laser light will be produced out. Okay, this is the principle behind that one. Now, so here also the same thing happens. Now, what happens here in this Ruby laser? This is the working principle. So, what is we are going to provide here? From this working only we can see what we have seen here. Here this is a 3-level laser system. This is a 3-level laser system where we have 3 levels, energy levels E1, E2 and E3. So, when we provide 5600 amperes of light energy to the atoms in the ground state, then they will be going to the excited state, and while in the excited state they will stand for 10 to the power of minus 8 seconds. Then they are going to move from the excited state to the metastable state where they will stay for 10 to the power of minus 3 seconds. Okay, so the atoms here will be quickly coming to the this state, and here number of atoms will be collected since there is a time lapse of 5 seconds. Okay, in the small time lapse only we can collect larger number of atoms in the metastable state. Okay, so here what happens? Population inversion will be created. How the population inversion will be created? When the atoms in the ground state, here the active atoms are Cr3 plus ions. Okay, Cr3 plus ions, and these chromium atoms which are in the ground state are going to exit state, and by receiving the 5600 amperes of energy, these excited Cr3 plus ions will be collected in the metastable state. Okay, then while de-excitation, they will be having incoherent with one another, and the coherence beams will be moving from one mirror end to the another mirror end rigorously to produce a pulsed laser beam of 6943 angstroms. This is the laser output from the Ruby laser. Okay, 6493 angstroms will be coming for us. Okay, this is the construction and working of Ruby laser. Okay, so now the applications of Ruby laser. It is a pulsed laser. It is used in pulsed holograms or holographs. It is used in LIDAR, light detection and ranging. This we'll learn in the later sections, light detection and ranging. It is used in remote sensing. It is used in ophthalmology. It is used for high drilling, high quality holes. In military, it is used as target designators and range finders. Okay, so this Ruby laser is the first laser founded, and this Ruby laser will be coming in the form of a pulses, flashes like that. Okay, drawbacks. The flash lamp generates a lot of heat, and liquid nitrogen is used as a coolant. The output, which is a pulse, has a power of order of 10 to the power of 5 watts. It is not a continuous. The radiation is not highly monochromatic. These are the drawbacks of Ruby laser. Now coming to 4-level laser system. Okay, what are the 4 levels? 4-level laser system means what? So the pumping scheme has 4 steps of transition in which an atom starts from ground state and then comes back to the same state in the 4 steps. 4 steps are there in the 4-level laser system. Okay, 4 or more steps. Why? Because we'll see more than 4 steps for some laser systems also. Okay, so better to take as 4 levels. In this, transition takes place from 3rd highest state to the 2nd highest state E2. The atoms quickly come to the ground state from E2 level. Okay, so that the 3rd level E3 is maintained as population inversion state. Generally, the 3rd level is maintained as population inversion state. Because of this reason, moderate pumping intensity will be sufficient to pump the atoms into the metastable state. It has high efficiency. It emits continuous laser beam. Okay, so see here the diagrams. E1 is the ground state, the absorption of radiation takes place, and this is the excited state. And from the excited state to the metastable state, there is a spontaneous transition. That means the transition will not be radiated out much radiations. Okay. Now metastable state, where the atoms are collected in the metastable state, then here in the metastable state, the atom will stay and the collected atoms will be coming to the ground state by producing the stimulated transition. And here stimulated transition will be taking place between E3 and E2, and E2 to E1 fast transition will be taking place without no radiation transition will be taking place. This is the general 4-level laser system. Now we are going to have the CO2 laser. CO2 laser, carbon dioxide laser, where this laser comes as a for gas laser systems, okay, which uses the 4-level lasers. A carbon dioxide molecule has a carbon atom at the center with the 2 oxygen atoms attached to the carbon atom, one at each side. Such molecule vibrates in 3 independent modes of vibration. Here we are supposed to see the mode of vibration of for the CO2 laser also. When the mode of vibration changes, the rate of transition also changes. Okay. So, symmetric stretching mode. In this mode of vibration, the carbon atom is at rest. Both the oxygen atoms vibrate such that they are moving away and approaching the fixed carbon simultaneously along the axis of the molecule. This is the symmetric stretch mode. Okay, these atoms will be moving from one position to another position, and the carbon atom is fixed at the center. Now, bending mode. In this mode of vibration, both oxygen atoms and carbon atom vibrate perpendicular to the molecular axis. This is a bend. So, the carbon atom will be moving downwards, oxygen atom will be moving forwards. So, bending mode, so that total molecule CO2 will be bent like this. Okay, the molecule will be moving like this, Okay, now asymmetric stretching mode. In this mode of vibration, both oxygen atoms and carbon atoms vibrate asymmetrically. That is, oxygen atom moves in one direction while the carbon atom moves in the opposite direction. Okay, oxygen atoms will be moving in one direction while the carbon atoms will be moving in the direction like this. Okay, so symmetric stretching, this will be happening in a symmetric stretching, and bending mode, one atom in this direction and the atom, 2 atoms in this direction like this, and asymmetric stretching like this. Okay, what happens here? The laser transition takes place between the vibration states of CO2 molecules. So here, what is happening here? The laser transition, the transition of atoms takes place due to the vibrational states of CO2 molecules. Okay, now construction. It consists of a quartz discharge tube 5 meters long and 2.5 centimeters diameter. This is the tube. The discharge tube is filled with a gas mixture of CO2, nitrogen and helium in a particular proportion, suitable pressures. Okay, the terminals of discharge tube are connected to DC power supply. The ends of tube are fixed with NaCl brushed windows so that the laser light generated is a plane polarized. Okay, so the optical resonator is formed with the 2 concave mirrors with one is fully reflecting, other one is partially reflecting mirrors. Okay, so what is the major thing we have in this type of laser systems of 3 levels or 4 levels? We can observe the one, there will be a partial mirror, and another there will be a fully reflected mirror, so that in order to achieve the amplification it will be used. So here in the construction, it consists of quartz, and see here, see in the diagram, this is fully reflected mirror, partially reflected mirror, and so on. Okay, now working. The energy level diagram of nitrogen and carbon molecules is shown in the figure. Okay, this is the energy level diagram. So we'll see what happens. Okay, when the electric discharge occurs in a gas mixture, this is a type of electric discharge method what we have discussed already. In a gas mixture, electrons will collide with nitrogen molecules and they are try to rise to the excited states. Okay, here we are using as electrons. Mind that electrons are atom one and the same here, in the sense electrons collide with nitrogen molecules and then they are raised to the excited states. The process is represented by the equation N2 plus E star is equals to N2 star plus E. N2 is the nitrogen molecule in the ground state. E star is the electron with higher energy. N2 star is a nitrogen molecule with excited in the excited state, and E is the same electron with the less energy. Since the excited energy level of nitrogen is very close to E5 energy level of CO2 molecules, CO2 molecules are excited by energy transfer and population inversion is achieved. Okay. So what happens here? N2 plus CO2 gives rise to CO2 star plus N2. N2 star is the nitrogen molecule in the excited state. CO2 is the carbon dioxide molecule in the ground state, and CO2 star is the carbon dioxide molecule in the excited state. N2 is the nitrogen molecule in the ground state. Okay. So here see here. Energy transfer through collisions. So here electrical discharge method we are using quartz tube, and atomic collision will be taking place. The N2 molecules imparts their energy to the CO2 molecules. Okay. So the CO2 molecules will be coming to the excited state and receives the energy from the N2 molecules. And then what happens here? E5 to E4, there are 5 energy levels. Yes, in the 4, this is even though this is called as a 4 level laser system, will be have here it will be having 5 levels. So E5 is the final state, and E5 to while making the transitions from E5 to E4, it produces 10.6 micrometers range of energy. Laser light will be produced, and 9.6 micrometers will be produced when it jumps from E5 to E3. So next, E4 to E2 is the non-transition, non-radiation transition, and E3 to E2 is also non-radiated transition, where E2 to E1 is also a non-radiated transition where the atoms returns to the ground state. This is what happens in the CO2 laser working. So any of the spontaneously emitted photons triggers the laser action in the tube. There are 2 possible states of the laser transitions. E5 to E4, the transition produces a laser beam of wavelength 10.6 micrometers, and transition E3 to E5 to E3, this transition produces a laser beam of 9.6 micrometers. Normally 10.6 micrometers transitions is more intense than 9.6 micrometer transition. The power output is 10 kilowatts. So what are the characteristics of CO2 laser? The type is molecular gas and 4 level laser system. Active medium, a gas mixture of CO2, N2 and helium. Pumping method is electric discharge method. Optical resonator, it is formed with 2 concave mirrors. Okay, the system is called as optical resonating system with active medium and 2 mirrors, which is called as optical resonating system. Now the power output is 10 kilowatts. Nature of output is continuous or pulsed wave. Generally, usually we are going to get the continuous, we are going to take the continuous beam from the CO2 laser. Okay, wavelength of laser output is 9.6 micrometers and 10.6 micrometers. Now what are the advantages? The construction of CO2 laser is simple. The output from this laser is continuous. It has high efficiency. It has a very high output power. The output power can be increased by increasing the length of the discharge tube. What are the disadvantages? The contamination of oxygen by carbon monoxide has some effects on the laser action. The opening temperature plays an important role in determining the output power of the laser. Since we are working with the three different gases, so it will be a little bit difficult. Now, coming to semiconductor laser. So, the laser is produced from the semiconductor material. What is the semiconductor material? It consists of 2 types of charge carriers where electrons and holes are the major parts, right? These are the 2 types of charge carriers. Now, let us see how the laser light is produced through the semiconductor material. So, the semiconductor laser is also known as junction laser or diode laser. The laser radiation is highly monochromatic and highly directional with both with small bandwidth. Okay. Semiconductor lasers are advantageous than the other lasers due to the capability of direction of modulation in frequency of a gigahertz range, small size and low cost, compatible with the optical fibers. So, they are used as light sources in optical fiber communication system. Remember this one. Okay. Recombination of holes and electrons at the p-n junction that produces semiconductor laser when the current is passed through the diode. This is the basic mechanism to emit light in semiconductor laser. Recombination of electrons and holes is possible in indirect band gap semiconductors like gallium arsenide and direct band gap semiconductors like silicon or germanium. The recombination of electrons and holes is less possible. So, in direct band gap semiconductors like silicon and germanium, the recombination is less possible, and in the gallium arsenide like materials, recombination is possible. Homojunction semiconductor laser and heterojunction semiconductor laser are the two types of semiconductor lasers. In homojunction semiconductor, the laser p-n junction is formed from the material, whereas hetero p-n junction material, it is formed from different materials. Hetero means different, homo means same. Now, this is the diagrammatic representation of a semiconductor laser. So, what does this diagram tells about? This diagram tells about a semiconductor is placed here, and p-type metal and n-type metal is sandwiched between the rough surface with the ohmic contacts on either side. The current flow over here, and the laser output will be coming out. This is a homojunction semiconductor laser. Okay, in this diode, is too small in order of 1 millimeters. The junction lies in the horizontal plane through the center. The top and bottom faces are metallized, and ohmic contacts are provided to pass the current through the diode. In order to pass the current through the diode, both the metal pieces are provided with the battery ohmic contacts. Okay, the two faces are roughened to prevent the lasing action in that direction. The active region consists of layer of about 1 mm thickness. As the refractive index of semiconductor is high, the most radiation is reflected at the semiconductor. Now, this is the working principle. What is the working principle tells? The working principle is same for the both semiconductor lasers, heterojunction and homojunction also. The junction is forward biased by means of ohmic contacts attached to the top of and bottom of the faces. What do you mean by forward bias? First suppose this is a semiconductor material with semiconductor p-n junction diode, which is having P and N. Then P has holes, majority of charge carriers are holes. And in n-type, majority are electrons. Forward bias means this is the junction formed in between p-type and n-type material, which is called as depletion region. Okay, this is known as forward bias. During this bias, since this is a positive one, the holes will be repelled by the positive potential and will be moving towards the depletion region. The electrons also will be repelled by the negative potential and moving towards the junction, where in the junction there exists the immobile charge carriers. And these electrons are going to recombine in this region itself. Okay. So, see the diagram over here. This is the active region. In the active region, there are some holes and some electrons will be there. And what happens here? When we provide some amount of energy, then the holes are injected to the active region and electrons are injected to this region. Okay. So, EZ means energy gap. So, valence state and conduction state, there are two states, and EZ will be the energy gap. Here also valence state and conduction states. Okay. EF is the equilibrium level. Now, the wavelength of laser light of semiconductor laser depends upon the band gap. If EZ is the band gap, the wavelength of emitted radiation is equals to lambda is equals to hc by Az, where h is the Planck's constant, c is the velocity of light. Substituting all the values, lambda is equals to 12.24 by Az at room temperature. The light emitted by the laser is about 9000 angstroms. The wavelength of laser light decreases with a decreasing temperature. Okay. Now, this is about semiconductor laser. Here what happens here? the electrons will be coming into the active region and holes will be coming into the electrons will be coming into the active region, holes will be coming into the active region, and there will be a recombination of electrons and holes takes place. Due to this recombination only, we are going to produce the laser light. Okay. In this video lecture, you have learnt about 3 types of lasers: ruby laser, CO2 laser, and semiconductor laser. In the next video lecture, you are going to learn about the applications of laser, that is a LIDAR, and some other applications. Thank you.